Amid accusations of inappropriate actions on the campaign trail, scooter firm Blue Duck distances itself from a San Antonio City Council candidate. Bexar County homeless with a clean record will no longer be thrown into jail for trespassing. And an Army basic training recruit recovers in San Antonio from a flesh-eating bacteria infection. This is your Express Briefing podcast for Thursday, April 25th. Subscribe to this and other free content at expressnews.com/podcasts. And get each day's top news and sports headlines delivered to your inbox at expressnews.com/newsletters. District 7 San Antonio City Council candidate Trevor Whitney is no longer an employee of Blue Duck Scooters. Wednesday, Blue Duck Vice President and Chief Communications Officer Elizabeth Lyons Houston said in an email that Whitney no longer works at the company, where he had been Regional Director of Government Relations. The 33-year-old candidate is one of three challengers seeking to unseat Councilwoman Ana Sandoval in her first re-election bid on the Northwest Side. This week, Express News columnist Gilbert Garcia detailed recent incidents in which witnesses said Whitney uttered profanities to Sandoval's boyfriend in the parking lot of an early voting site and made a sexually suggestive hand gesture at a candidate's forum. Whitney denies the profanities and says while he regrets the hand gesture, he was reacting to a heckler at the forum. Prosecutors will no longer charge homeless people with criminal trespassing, a violation that has landed some in jail for lengthy periods, if they don't have a violent history and meet other criteria. Bexar County District Attorney Joe Gonzalez announced the new policy Wednesday, which comes in the wake of 2 deaths in the jail related to homelessness or mental illness. Gonzalez says his policy would place the decision to prosecute based on the facts of each case, coupled with an assessment of risk and a mental health evaluation for the person involved. Prosecutors will reject criminal trespassing cases if the offense occurs at a non-residential place. Criminal trespass is the only charge. The defendant appears to be homeless, and the defendant doesn't have a violent history and is not on probation or deferred adjudication. However, the policy doesn't prevent police from making an arrest if they find probable cause. The change in criminal trespassing policy comes after 2 inmates held on misdemeanor charges died while in the county jail. 61-year-old Janice Dotson Stevens was mentally ill and died of natural causes on December 14th after having been in jail since July 19th on $300 bail while awaiting a hearing on a misdemeanor criminal trespass charge. And this month, on April 18th, 63-year-old Jack Michael Yulee was found unresponsive in his cell and died. He'd been in custody since April 4th on a $500 bail for a misdemeanor criminal trespass charge on private property. Tuesday, a sewer line collapse caused a 10-foot wide section of US 90 to cave in, but luckily the line was not moving sewage at the time of the collapse. As another section of nearby pipe had failed earlier, over the weekend the San Antonio water system had already bypassed this section before it failed, and no sewage was spilled. But Wednesday, crews were still busy working to fill and close the hole, causing a traffic quagmire in the area that saw westbound lanes closed and traffic diverted to the access road. SAWS officials report inclement weather has slowed the repair work, and they don't expect the highway's main lanes to reopen until sometime later today. The 24-inch cast iron sewer line was installed in 1985 and slated for replacement under a SAWS consent decree with the Environmental Protection Agency. A SAWS spokesperson says the failure is likely due to the pipe's age. As work continues, officials from SAWS and the Texas Department of Transportation encourage commuters to use alternate routes. And Army basic training recruit Dez Del Barba is recuperating and continuing to fight for his life in San Antonio after 19 surgeries to remove flesh-eating bacteria from his body. Just a few months ago, Del Barba was a healthy 21-year-old on the verge of graduating from Sonoma State University in Northern California. He'd taken time off from school to attend Army basic training, and afterward intended to finish his last semester, get his degree in business management, and enroll in officer candidate school, with the ultimate goal of joining the National Guard, where his mother had served for more than 2 decades. But everything changed when 5 weeks into basic training at Fort Benning, Del Barba was hospitalized with the potentially fatal infection commonly called flesh-eating bacteria. As doctors in Alabama sought to halt the disease's spread, they amputated most of his left leg, and in mid-February, Del Barba was transferred to the Army's Institute of Surgical Research in San Antonio, where after 19 different surgeries, doctors are now trying to save his right leg. Del Barba says he was discouraged from seeking medical care during basic training and was not told he had tested positive for Strep A. His family says they only later received those test results and believes delays in treatment contributed to the severity of his condition. In January and February, 61 trainees at Fort Benning tested positive for Strep A, and 3 tested positive for a more serious infection that can cause serious complications. In response, all trainees on base, totaling nearly 10,000 people, were given preventative antibiotics. The Army has yet to publicly identify the source of the outbreak. Del Barba is expected to spend the next few years in San Antonio receiving specialized care for his injuries, after which he will be treated at the Center for the Intrepid at Brooke Army Medical Center, which cares for wounded veterans who have experienced amputations or lost the use of a limb. And that's your daily San Antonio Express briefing for Thursday, April 25th. Subscribe to this and other free content at expressnews.com/podcasts.